Yo, 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 yo,
Ew,
yo.
ew. What's going
What's
on?
up, everybody? Hope you had a good weekend out there. Tyler is dealing with some internet issues. We'll touch on that shortly, but he's going to try to power through on his phone. But thank you for
Yep.
joining us. Again, hopefully you had a nice sporting weekend. Let me actually put my headphones on here. Yeah, I kind of want to keep these on. These are stuntastical.
I know those look good. I like it. I think you should keep them on.
No, I don't want people to see how the magic is made down here on my glasses.
It
God!
just ruins everything.
Yeah. Welcome in. Thank you guys. As you saw there on my sign, it is our 100th episode, which kind of snuck up on us.
Yeah.
But thank you, as always. And, I pulled out all the stops for this one. Let me get my big splash reveal. 100 episodes.
That is 2 years worth of our budget right there.
Yeah, I know. I had to run that through so much approvals just to get that.
Yeah.
Just to get the emojis on there. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. Let's see. Oh, Nick checking in. Suck at mosquitoes, as always.
Always.
So I got the sign around here somewhere. Unless it's just been destroyed by possums, which I saw earlier again, that possum. But
Or maybe a group of mosquitoes. Maybe a group of mosquitoes came and took it away.
They just swarmed it and took it away, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of good sports to get into over the weekend, particularly football and, of course, the Masters. Real quick, just a couple small things I wanted to hit on right at the very beginning here. And a lot of good betting, too, which we're going to get into.
A lot of good betting.
Lots of good and bad betting. But couple things right off the top. I don't know that much about F1, except it's extremely expensive for everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
But Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, tying the great Michael Schumacher. So shout out to him, which I would just assume probably means that Mercedes team is the richest team currently going. But 7 times, that's pretty legit. I know Schumacher is definitely goated, so tying him, that's a big deal. So shout out to him. A couple little NBA news and notes. James Harden and Chris Paul. Well, Chris Paul actually has been traded, which we'll get into in a second. But James Harden wants out of Houston, and he wants to go to a contender, which, I don't know, 2 things about that make me laugh. It's kind of like you're sort of the reason as their best player that you guys haven't been a real contender in Houston. So
True.
Interesting. But he wants to get to the Nets and play with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, which, for one, we still have never seen actually happen due to injuries. And for 2, there's one ball, so I don't know how that would work out. I mean, yeah, that would be weird. I don't know. Tyler, what do you think about that?
If that I don't know how it can happen just based off salary cap, they would literally be playing with nobody else on the team, just a bunch of league minimum guys, just because Harden, Durant, and Kyrie would take up so much cap space. And
I don't even know what you get back if you're the Rockets. I mean, Dinwiddie, some of these other guys that are the second tier guy. I don't even know what kind of draft pick the Nets have right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But I mean, of course, the biggest thing is, like you said, there's only one ball, and Durant has shown that he's okay with maybe letting some other guys take some shots, but Kyrie and Harden both definitely love to shoot, and I'm just imagining this scenario where it's final timeout, 2 seconds left, down by 2, and all 3 of those guys just get into a fist fight on the sidelines, arguing over who's going to take the shot.
Oh, hate to see it. Wild scenes here in Brooklyn. And as Cease points out, he turned down $50 million a year. Would have been the first ever in league history.
Cool.
But yeah, that whole Rockets situation is unraveling quickly after the unceremonious departure of the Moneyball god Daryl Morey in the NBA. Who
Don't
also
forget the
was
go ahead. Finish that sentence.
No, just he was saying we accomplished so many great things there. I was like, but did you though?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it all started with that, and then Westbrook wants out of there too, so they could be losing Westbrook and Harden, which long term, I don't know if it's going to be for the better or worse. I mean, it's kind of I don't know if this experiment they've been doing is going to succeed any more than it already has. So maybe it is just kind of like get rid of everything, start over, start fresh, try something different. But yeah, definitely things are definitely looking a little rough there in Houston.
It's gonna be. Let's just be honest. It's better for them to sooner get to the rebuild that's inevitable than
Agreed.
drag this out. But I mean, these guys got big contracts, and you have to get something back for that. Which, like I said, who knows what you're going to get back from the Nets? Like I said, it's definitely not going to be one of the two guys that he wants to go play with. So I don't know. You're just throwing in some of their second tier guys, and then probably a bunch of draft picks. But we'll see what happens. And the other NBA thing, we did have Chris Paul, which I saw. This was from Woj earlier in the day, but I think that's finalized. He is going to the Suns, so yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, they've got Chris Paul and Booker out there. That might be a nice little combo.
Yeah, and the Suns giving up in that trade, Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, I think one other player, and then like a 2022 first-round pick. So, Paul's still not bad. I don't know if he's necessarily. I mean, look, Phoenix has looked really good. Obviously, they went 8-0 in the bubble and just missed the playoffs. They're on the way up. I don't know if Chris Paul is maybe like kind of a piece to take to the next level, but I don't think he's a terrible piece to have out there either.
No, and Chris Paul played pretty well too in these playoffs. This past one in the bubble, so he's still got some game in him. I would say certainly you would think puts the Suns into a playoff spot over the course of a season, but how far they go at that point, I don't know. A couple other comments on the NBA talk here. Says Nick echoes our sentiments. How many shots do Harden, Kyrie, and KD take? All of them.
True.
And Cease again. Alphas don't go to a team to be the third guy. Yeah, I don't. That's the thing with Harden now. I mean, he'll get you 35 a night, but he has to have the ball all the time, whether it's shooting or just getting fouled, which he does at an alarmingly, annoyingly high rate. I don't know. I really don't know how that's going to work. But like I said, we haven't even seen the Nets with Kyrie and KD play ever. So I felt like they were, let's just go with what we got here. I mean, you saw in the tweet there that the Nets say there haven't been any meaningful conversations. I know that's what Harden wants. But the Nets do have some solid like second-tier guys to back up that big two. So do they even want to go get James Harden and all it's going to cost them to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, obviously, we're going to find out a lot more in the coming days with the draft coming up on Wednesday. We're going to get a lot more trades going on. And actually, we didn't mention it yet, but your Lakers also made a trade yesterday, trading away Danny Green and a 20 in their first-round pick for Dennis Schroeder.
He will be missed. He will be missed.
Schroeder's a nice pickup for the Lakers, though. I like that trade.
Schroeder, I believe, was second in voting for Sixth Man of the Year. It was kind of one of the hot commodities out there. The Lakers are giving up a draft pick, and fare thee well, Danny Green. I mean, he got another ring. What's the problem?
He did. He got a ring.
But every time he shot, I was very upset, so won't be sad to see him go. And I mean, what you get back in Schroeder is a guy that could potentially start, depending on injuries or if they lose Bradley. I think Rondo's probably going to be gone in free agency. So I like that move for the Lakers, just keeping themselves up, as a contender, like a favorite. And the last thing I had, too, just as far as like the quick stories, we talked about it on Friday's show that Scotland got into their first major tournament, the Euros, in 22 years. And I didn't see this until over the weekend, but Ryan Christie, after the game, had a pretty cool interview. I just thought it was cool for a variety of reasons. You could see he was pretty emotional just talking about it, but I'll play the clip and then we'll touch on that real quick at the end.
Ryan, I can see the emotion. I'm crying myself. Just try and sum it up for us.
I don't know. It's just an amazing night. I think from the start we kind of believed. Obviously the last kind of couple of camps we've picked up so much belief in each other. The Gaff mentioned it before the game, that kind of Czech Republic came away in the last kind of 10 minutes, and even the way the game went tonight, kind of conceding that late equaliser still digging in, and then penalties, away from home, and Big Marsh again comes up. Amazing, unbelievable.
You did the business in the second half there, but then you had to watch the goal going in, then the penalties as well. How tough was that for you?
Yeah, it's not nice. When you're on the pitch, you always feel like you can impact it. The moment you're off, you can't watch it. It's horrible. Those penalties probably the worst thing I've ever been through. But just for everything, Oh God.
Czech Republic, England, Croatia. What does that sound like now? You're going to the Euros.
Yeah, it's just for the whole nation. It's been a horrible year for everyone. We knew that coming into the game. We could give a little something to this country, and I hope everyone back home is on our party tonight, because we deserve it. We've been through so many years. We know it, you know it, everyone knows it, and it's a monkey off the back now, and we're just going to move on from here.
Yeah, dancer, get in. See you at the Euros. Well done.
Couple things I
Get in,
did
son.
love. Get in, son. See you at the Euros. But a couple things I liked about that was, one, just sort of the well, really in any sport, but especially in soccer, when you're subbed out, you're just out. That he talked about, having to watch, and he's like, you can't even look sometimes because, like, you feel like when you're out there, you can have an impact on the game, and then you just have to sit back and watch, and then end up going to penalties against Serbia. So he's probably sitting there chewing all his fingernails off. But especially in pro sports, yes, but also even more so international sports where it's a national team involved. And a lot of times as a fan, you're kind of thinking like, I don't know, these guys are all millionaires. If it's a sport that involves professional players, like how much do they really care about this? Like it's taking up their time they could be resting for their professional season or their off season or whatever it is. But you could see how much it meant to him, especially, 2020. But Scotland is not a big country. I mean, it's not by any means a soccer powerhouse. And I just thought it was a cool clip to see that. So I saw that, I believe, on Saturday. And I just wanted to play that for you guys. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was a really cool clip. And like I said, Scotland, there was 22 years since they've made the Euros, and like you said, they're not any sort of powerhouse. Like they've got two teams in their national league that one of them is always going to be in the Champions League, but they usually never even make it to the group stage. That's if they make it to the group stage, they get there and get killed. So. It is cool, like you said, always seeing these kind of like smaller countries, just seeing how much it means to them as opposed to, not say it doesn't mean a lot to like the big countries that you always see in there all the time. Like it does mean something, but, it definitely, when they're there every year, you don't see the emotion as much as you do like in that clip, for a guy that's, leading his team to a big competition for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I just thought that was a cool clip, and a couple comments there. The Baron coming in, that's English, right? It's Scottish, so
it's Scottish, yeah.
Whatever you could make out of that, I had to watch it a couple times to get all the beats to it, but and then see, it's still real to me, damn it!
Still real to him, damn it!
I don't want to see another one of these. I mean,
whoa, take it easy, man.
Y'all are awesome for everything you do to your bodies.
Saying what needed to be said.
But shout out to Scotland. Up the Tartan. Let's go. Have a good run in the Euros and get a chance to, take a shot at England. So we'll see what happens there. And Jaime again, Scotland winning that spot to the Euro was awesome. I agree. Look forward to that tournament. Let's dive right over into. Actually, let's start with the Masters. And then I'll make way for football at the end there. But Dustin Johnson just running wild. I love the graphic they have on the Masters website. So it looks exactly like the big scoreboard they have there. But minus 20.
Man.
Woo! Minus 20. And then especially round 3, I feel like that's where he really put it to bed. Came out a little shaky in the 4th round on Sunday, but then just sort of got back into cruise control. I really didn't get to see much of the tournament because all of the first 3 days it was, they were playing it earlier and I was at work for the first 3 days. So I was only watching the highlights, but listening to the radio commentary on XM on the way home, DJ does have the reputation of blowing it in these spots, and even the analysts on there were like, I just don't think that's going to happen this time, because he just like ran through that course like it was nothing on Saturday. And basically the point they were saying was, I don't even think he's going to beat himself, because he's just like working this course over. He didn't even have to make any long putts really on Saturday. He was, drives in the fairway, hitting the greens, makeable putts, and it wasn't a problem for him. And then, like I said, Sunday, a little shaky at the beginning, where it was maybe interesting, especially to the betting community. He was the second favorite coming into this, but ends up taking care of business. And, I mean, really just in an insane way, because -20 for one at Augusta.
Yeah.
And the scoring was definitely more so than it would have been in April. Guys were just like throwing darts on the green, because they had, it was a combination of, it was wet, but then heat wave came through, and it sort of like made the greens really softer than you would normally have in a major tournament. But the thing that stands out the most to me is 4 bogeys in 4 rounds. That's insane. That I can't even believe that.
Yeah, I if I got 4 bogeys in 1 round, I would be absolutely thrilled with that. But that would be the round of my life. Yeah, seriously. No, I mean, you nailed it though. Like, just absolute dominance. Like, I didn't get to watch much of the first 3 days. I was mostly watching highlights. Got to watch quite a bit of it on Sunday. Got to watch a bit of the last round. And yeah, I mean, he, like you said, started out slow, but then once he got locked in, it was just like, yeah, there's no way he's blowing this. He was just nailing every shot, putting it right where he wanted it to, and just completely ran away with the tournament. The funny thing I noticed about him, man, is like, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know he won the Masters by his emotion. Like, he was just so like stoic, stone-faced, just focused in. It's like, oh no, he's just playing, some like, first it's the first round of some like random tournament on a Thursday in like, Akron or something like that. But he
did get a little in the actual, when he had the jacket on, he got a little locked up as far as, he's from that area, never won the Masters until now. So he did kind of show a little emotion there, but usually
once he won it,
like Tyler said, pretty stone face. His brother is his caddy. His brother was already kind of, wiping some of the tears away after just he clinched it on the green there. But, yeah, I mean, this guy's clear-cut number 1 in the world right now, I'd have to say. You didn't really have to see him make any stressful long putts. I think he had like 1 on Saturday. Didn't really need any of those on Sunday. But he's got, the long hitting, which everyone has now. And it's just the complete package. This guy, when he's on, he's on. And he just ran through that course. It was crazy.
So I wanted to ask you this. What are your thoughts of – because, this is normally a tournament that's held in, I believe, April, kind of when it's it's usually done after March Madness. There's no football going on. Baseball's kind of just starting up. Basketball's kind of winding down. Hockey's kind of winding down. So usually the Masters kind of has a weekend like all to itself for the most part. So what did you think of the Masters happening in November as opposed to, like, is this something you might want to see again going forward, or do you just prefer it being in spring by itself, having its own shine?
Well, I wouldn't prefer seeing it this way going forward, just because it just means everything is all sideways. But as of right now, it was nice to have another major sporting event going on, because, like you said, we pretty much got college and NFL football, occasional UFC pay-per-views, or Derek Lewis fight.
That's coming up soon.
Coming up soon. That's our guy. Yeah. But it was nice to have it now, and different, but kind of cool in some ways. I mean, the Masters always, as a golf tournament on TV, is one of the coolest ones to watch, because it's so, like, I actually watched it with producer Tanaya a little bit on Sunday morning, and she would never watch golf on TV. I'm just gonna put that out there, but she was like, man, where is this? It looks so nice. I was like, yeah, it always looks like that. It's like the outside at the Masters is like nicer than a lot of people's inside their house. Like, it's perfectly manicured. Everything is like to the T, just like gorgeous on TV, HD, CBS. Hook it up with the 4K. Again, I can't stress that enough how much more 4K we need, but it's for different day, whatever. Fox, also fix your app. I know you're trying to do it on Thursday Night Football, but anyway. And you got to see more of it without fans. Just sort of just the scenic. I mean, it was weirdly quiet. The Masters, that roar when someone's, especially on Sunday, makes a big shot and you're hole or two ahead or behind of them, what's going on. Wasn't the same there. I mean, obviously at the end you had a little bit of staffers and stuff like that around the green. But I still like to see the Masters at the normal time, but I think it was a deserved win. And, DeChambeau coming in as a heavy favorite. I'm still a DeChambeau guy. Look, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But he did get humbled a little bit there. Just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned to the Baron and a couple other people, maybe could have saved a couple strokes with fans there to help him find some of these balls that just went off into nowhere. But, I don't think it was the pressure. I just maybe think he didn't play his best, And
sure,
everyone has that. The margins are so thin with these guys. But DJ was clearly second favorite. I think DeChambeau was like 15-2. DJ was 17-2 or something like that on the odds that we had going in. Right. So not a big shocker there, but the way he just ran through the course I thought was impressive. And this guy he's going to be good for a long time. So I enjoyed the extra side, I wouldn't say distraction, but like major event going on that you could also have something to, besides just football.
Yeah, definitely. And I also do want to say, speaking of the Baron, shout out to him. Happy belated birthday, Baron. I did see it was your birthday. Baron. Got to give a shout out there. You're right. It was weird, especially on the 18th hole. Like, any major on the 18th hole, it's just, you're used to massive crowds, tons of noise as soon as the shot is hit. If it's Tiger, as soon as he makes contact, it's in the hole, or, some stupid like that. But yeah, like it was weird. There was a part of me that kind of enjoyed it, like having, no crowd and just kind of being, the golfer against themselves instead of worrying about the pressure of the crowd. But I don't know, like, I think ultimately I would like more fans there, obviously getting it back to normal just for the sake of normalcy. But I enjoyed the presentation this year. It was something different, something cool. Overall, I thought it was pretty good.
I thought actually Nance made a good point too when Tiger was walking up 18 to putt out. I mean, he was not going to win. He was out of it. But as the guy that won last year, and it was Tiger, like there would have been a huge roar of just him walking down, a standing ovation going off the course there, and you didn't get that. But weird, but not terrible. Golf it's different for those guys because they're used to playing in front of fans. So it could be more like a lot of the talk going into it was, well, guys that haven't been there before kind of have an advantage here because they're not used to the normal crowd as far as like being at the Masters, already a huge deal. And sure. Just dealing with that. So, but the guys that were used to it, it may be kind of a disadvantage because you like hearing these guys talk about it, they're used to it. So you don't really hear that stuff. But when it's quiet, it's kind of in some ways more difficult because then you get into the golf mode of just like, it's just me and my own thoughts. Like, man, it was a bad shot. And you're just like, on a loop. But one other thing I wanted to hit on, Tiger, who did kind of rally there at the end, but he did have a 10 on the 12th hole, which at par 3, by the way. He had, I believe he had 2 shots in the water. Then he overshot the green into the bunker and then hit that bunker shot into the same water. Ended up rolling out with a 10. And this guy had Tiger Woods to score 10 or more on any hole, put $1 on it at 15,000. Woo! So shout out to that guy.
Yeah, definitely one of those bets that it's like there's no. You think to yourself, there's no way it's going to happen, but you know what? The odds are too great, so I'll just put something on it just because. And hey, worked out.
Yeah, this guy got his money there. So hate to see it, love to see it. Especially me. I'm never going on the PGA Tour, so I kind of love to see it. And I'm a total degenerate gambler. But
plus, as you tweeted out, it's, hey, look, Tiger, he's just one of us. Getting a 10, he's one of us.
Hey,
yeah, exactly.
Hey. Put that 10 on the card and move on, son.
I'll give you a 9. I'll give you a 9.
Yeah, I don't think they let you do that in the Masters, but
no, I don't think they do either.
They were more chill with the rules this year, so who knows. But
right.
let's get right into the football. I'm gonna hit a couple college football stories here, just some more prominent ones, and then we'll go right into the NFL. But Tyler, I know you had a couple notes that you had on college football as far as really just one upset, sort of more of the fallout of cancellations and things like that. So go ahead and take us into the college football weekend.
Yeah, so obviously the big story of the weekend was, again, it was 15 or 16 games either postponed or canceled. And just for reference, we already have 4 this upcoming week that have been postponed or canceled already. So expect more of that. We'll fill you in on that as the week goes along. But yeah, not really too many upsets here. Only one in the top 25. We had Tulsa beating number 19 ranked SMU. So that'll kind of throw a little wrench into the what is that? Is it the Conference US? No, AAC. Excuse me. The
AAC.
American Athletic Conference wrench there. Just a couple notes I had on here. I'll go ahead and address it. My Wolverines getting dominated again by Wisconsin.
That was
definitely think, just watching it, the players, Harbaugh's lost the locker room. The players don't want to try. Harbaugh looks like a guy that knows he's on his way out. It's really just a matter of time. Even at this point in time, I don't know if a miracle win over Ohio, I don't even know if that saves his job at this point in time. Like I said, he looks like he knows he's on his way out. He could maybe lose his job this week if they lose to Rutgers. They'll probably, leave him on the tarmac there in New Jersey if that happens. But definitely keep an eye out for that. And also Penn State losing as well, going 0-4. I'm sure there's lots of discussions there in Not So Happy Valley about James Franklin's tenure there or his current status there.
And it's an interesting situation with Harbaugh, for one, because I'm kind of like, yeah, this did seem like it was going to be, it hasn't worked out, obviously. But
sure,
he's a Michigan guy. He's coming back. He's had success in the NFL, like building these teams up, or even before that in college football. And it never clicked together. I mean, you would think at some point you could get at least like a quarterback that was top tier, but they just never have materialized.
Nope.
But like where do you go from Harbaugh though? That's the only thing I think is on his side. Does he even want to stay there? I could see him maybe leaving and going to the NFL at some point, like when that
totally.
Crazy season happens, jumping back to the NFL. But it's kind of like there's not really anyone out there, so that's the only thing that makes me wonder. And then, with Franklin, actually, this was a great tweet I saw over the weekend. His buyout's $38 million. So where do you go with a $38 million buyout? How do you afford that in a COVID year where the entire, everyone's athletic department is just hemorrhaging money? So I don't know where they go either. But, and I think, if Franklin left, there would be colleges lining up to get him. Other schools, but if you're Penn State, how can you just shell out the $38 million? And there's other, things in the contract that he would also have to be paid out, life insurance, things like that. So they're kind of stuck with that. I mean, I don't know how this season shapes up for them, starting 0-4, but weird situation.
Yeah, definitely. And, to your point about Harbaugh, you're right. Typically, the rule is you don't fire your coach unless you have somebody as good, better available. Right now it's kind of up in the air who's available. We don't really know too many options, and like I said, especially with teams not really having the income this year, we may see a case where teams just kind of say, all right, you're going to stay on the whole year. Like, we're going to fire you as soon as your contract's over, but we're going to keep you on for now, and we'll just eat a terrible season. It'll be interesting where to go. I think you're right. I think Harbaugh, he's going to go to the NFL at some point in time, whether it's at the end of this year or not. I think he's kind of done with college. When he first got to Michigan, it was great. 10 wins in 3 of his first 4 seasons. that had the fan base really happy. And my whole thought was like, okay, he's doing this without his guys. Once he gets his guys, let's see what happens. He got his guys, and it's gotten worse. So,
yeah.
I mean, some change has to be made. Again, I don't know who's out there. I don't know if maybe Michigan will try to contact Kansas to buy out Les Miles' contract. That's kind of one thing that I saw.
Les Miles.
Oh, Les Miles. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. One thing I will look forward to, as far as college football goes, is Tuesday and Wednesday, both nights.
Woo!
3 MAC games, baby. Give me that action.
It's still intact, and it's still the most entertaining. Certainly not the best, but most entertaining conference in football. And those lean nights, those Tuesday and Wednesday nights, you crave it. And I do too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Also, I did just want to give a shout out to Indiana, who remains undefeated. Of course, this week they'll have a big game against Ohio State, battle of the undefeateds. Indiana, they've been sneaky tough for probably like 4 or 5 years now, really since Tom Allen took over. Like, it hasn't translated to wins, but anybody that's been following Big Ten knows like they've been playing people tough. Even I think when Allen first got there, they got 5 wins. But if after the game, you were like, okay, this team's like they're playing tough. They don't think they're a basketball school anymore.
In it, yeah, they're in these close games, even if win or lose. You saw the Penn State game earlier this year with the guy in overtime hitting the pylon. One coach that is available though, Tyler, is unfortunately Will Muschamp.
Oh, boy.
He is now gone from South Carolina. Of course, we had to get Spurrier's take, which I love. He's not going to be empty pocketed. He knows how to get big contracts. I'll tell you that. So that might be a little bit of a threat for Michigan. Maybe stay away from that one. But the other good thing from that game was my guy, the Lane Train, just losing his mind, throwing his clipboard into the stand, not once, but twice. And we did have this incredible clip of him. It was just a huge busted play. So it's like if the guy catches it, it's a touchdown. But you'll see in the clip, actually, there shouldn't be any audio, so we could talk over this. Okay, so this, all right, this is a home run. But, okay, you see the arrow there. That's Lane down there. Let me take the banner off. There he goes. There he goes. There goes the clipboard. That ended up like 15 rows into the stands, ripping off the headset, running down the field. So shout out to the Lane Train.
Hey, that was an impressive toss. That was. The first time I saw that GIF on Twitter, I was like, wait, what was that a clipboard? And then watched it like 6 more times. It's like, oh, God, of course it was Lane. But, definitely one of the funnier moments of the college football weekend.
He did it twice also. But, my favorite part, too, was when ESPN showed the graduate assistant having to go up into the stands and come back, walk the clipboard back down. Here you go, sir. And then one last thing on college football, we got Brad Hutchings chiming in. Michigan can have Clay Helton. Well, I don't know how you feel about that, Tyler. He's better than Harbaugh. And Urban Meyer to USC. Fight on.
Yeah, that's been the rumor for a few years now. Is Urban's going to go to USC? That's kind of his thing. Go somewhere, do well, have a scandal, retire for health reasons, become a commentator, repeat.
And repeat. We will see. Yeah, USC with another shaky, to say the least, weekend.
Hey, they got the win.
They did get the win. I just don't know if they've ever covered against the spread in the last 15 years. I don't know.
Think about this. They've had 2 wild games so far this year. They haven't even played a Pac-12 After Dark game, which they have scheduled this weekend. Anybody that's watched Pac-12 After Dark knows that's when the weird shit happens. So
that's when we get weird, baby.
The USC game might be one to watch this weekend.
So that was a little bit of college football over the weekend. Let's slide on in to the NFL, the National Football League. A couple things. Well, this doesn't have the times on it, so Red Zone yesterday. 6 games in the afternoon, baby.
Yes.
Love to see it. It was Red Zone all day. We had 5 in the morning and 6 in the afternoon. So Red Zone was definitely the place to be. I was watching my fantasy matchup, although I was kind of screwed either way because I have Ronald Jones and who else do I have on the other team? I can't remember right now. But my 2 guys that really went off for me I was playing against them in the other muddy league, so I was bound to
Oh,
lose one
no.
of them.
Yeah.
And I put a whooping on Jeff in our player haters league, but the big money, not so much. Unless
Oh,
Thielen
well.
has like 8 touchdowns, but I doubt it.
See, I was the opposite. I put a whooping in my big money league. My team just absolutely went off, and my team's gotten better because I just made a trade for Pat Mahomes. But
Blockbuster.
it's at the cost of my team next year. I'm also trying to get Tyreek Hill, and I'm basically mortgaging my first 4 rounds trying to get those 2 players
Well, if
next
you
year.
just become the Chiefs, though, that's fantasy gold.
Yeah, but the thing, like, neither of those guys are going to be keepers next year. So, like I said, I'm kind of mortgaging my first 4 round picks for those. But anyway. But then in our league, I think I lost to Eric tonight. I was up by like 2, and he had Thielen going, and Thielen got a touchdown early, so I've already lost that one. But
I did hear the Thielen touchdown on the radio. It made me happy, but I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to win. But shout out to him, reliably hanging on. But let's get into the first game here at the top, and also the first bad beat, which is Houston at Cleveland. Really just a terrible, shitty game.
yeah,
and,
not good.
Cleveland does get the win, which was big for them as far as, hanging on wild card wise. But the story there is Nick Chubb running out of bounds at the 1-yard line with like 4 seconds left in the game. So they could, clock it a couple times, kneel on it twice, instead of just scoring and giving the ball back. I doubt very much that Houston would have scored twice there anyway, but big betting and fantasy implications on that. I'm sure a lot of people were super burnt about that. I personally do not have Nick Chubb on my team, any of my teams, but that's kind of rough.
Kind of the way I look at this for the bettors is so Cleveland was a 3.5-point favorite. They had the lead at the end of the game. They were just trying to run the clock out. Nick Chubb breaks one, goes all the way down the sideline, and then, like Ronnie said, steps out at the 1-yard line instead of scoring a touchdown, making the smart, real-life play. Kind of the way I look at it is, if you're a bettor, is like, really, you weren't going to win that anyways. That was just, like, circumstantial that he happened to break one. Like, if he didn't break one, they were just going to run the clock out back in their own 20 or 30, wherever they were anyways. So, like, it obviously it sucks, but that one I'm kind of like, you weren't going to win that if you took Cleveland plus 3.5 anyways, or minus 3.5 anyways.
Yeah, Cleveland, like I said, their record's pretty good. They're still in that wild card hunt, but that was
6-3.
not exactly inspiring, shall we say. So
yeah,
we'll just leave it at that. But America's team, the Browns, continues to march on. Then you have the Washington football team going to Detroit and coming up just short. I believe Detroit had a game-winning field goal there. And
Washington made a big second-half comeback. I think they scored 21 unanswered, but then Detroit made 2 field goals late in the game, including one as time expired. I think that was a 59-yarder as well to get the win there.
And then Jacksonville at Green Bay. We talked about this earlier on Friday. One ambitious gentleman put a $99,000 money line bet on the Packers to win. Everyone thought this was a sure thing. But credit to the Jags with their backup quarterback hanging around. Still had a chance there. They had the ball with maybe 2 minutes left. Packers really sort of teed off on them. I think they sacked him twice on that drive. Ended up coming up short. But I just love the fact that this guy was definitely sweating it. He probably just thought, hey, money in the bank. I'll take the $9,000. And then when his friends or whoever started texting him, he's like, oh crap, what is happening?
I've made a terrible mistake.
But they end up pulling it off.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I think it was during the second quarter, Jacksonville had a punt return for a touchdown, which included a nice juke move on the punter, who was the last line of defense. And as soon as that happened, I was like, this guy just totally threw a chair through a window, like watching that punt return.
No. They do pull it out though, and
they do.
Swerving over to Knicks Giants. Giants moving on.
Game of the week.
The Eagles throwing the NFC East back into chaos.
Yeah.
Getting the win there. Shout out to Danny Dimes and crew for the New York Football Giants pulling that one off. Tampa Bay with the bounce back against Carolina. 46. Good to see Mike Evans get some points there finally. Ronald Jones, again, fantasy-wise, amazing. Had a 98-yard touchdown. I believe the longest of the season. But again, cuts both ways because that went against me in the other league. I think in fantasy that's probably by itself like a 16-point play. So, yeah.
Just real quick, right before we get going in, I did just have a couple stats here on the NFC East. I just wanted to throw out here for you. So the Giants again. Philly still in first place in the East. I believe their record is. I had it right here in front of me. They are currently 3-5-1. The Giants are 3-7 right behind them. Washington and Dallas behind them at 2-7. So everybody's still in it.
There's still a chance.
So all three of the Giants' wins have been against NFC East teams.
Division bullies.
Obviously any record within a division is always going to be 500. The NFC East is 8-8 against itself, but against all other divisions, they are 2-18-1. with the Dallas comeback against Atlanta in week 2, the Philadelphia win against the Niners in week 4, and of course the Philadelphia tie in Cincinnati in week 3, which that tie might want to be the damn difference in winning or losing that division, which is crazy.
At this point, it's very plausible that 5 wins takes the division. I mean, let's just be real here. When you start playing more of the intra-division games, 5 could take it.
Totally.
And, Jaime, Cowboys fan, chiming in. Cowboys highlight on Sunday was having the week off. Yes, but also the downside is they're still in the mix. So that means you still got to watch. Sorry, bro. And then we have the Bronco. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying let's continue down the line. Let's get into your Raiders here.
Broncos going to the Raiders. I thought this was going to be a trap for my Raiders, but I didn't think. I don't live in a world where, like at the beginning of the season, if you would have told me these two things, Raiders would be 6-3, we're basically 2/3 mark of the season, and they're playing the Chiefs coming up next, who they already beat. I would have been like, "You're high." I don't know, but it's that's ridiculous. But they pull it off and picked off Drew Lock, I think 3 times, which you love to see because he's really annoying. But
he's not good. Let's not kid ourselves. Drew Lock is not good.
One of the great bets I saw on that, though, as we go back to the bets, was my guy had Devontae Booker against his former team. 2 prop bets, or 2 parlays on prop bets of Devontae Booker. Man. The first one, 2 touchdowns, and just Vegas to win on the money line. He put 50 on it to win $13.50. And then the second one, Devontae Booker with over 70 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. And that was $50 to win $14.50. Gotta love it.
What a maniac. Love it. What a maniac.
Look, I'm not, that guy is sick. But he's having the best week of his life right now.
True.
Hey, and savor the flavor, brother.
More power to you, man.
I'm not delusional enough to think that this Raiders team will beat the Chiefs twice in one season, but they currently would be in a wild card spot. If they just don't get killed by the Chiefs, I'll take it. I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, no, you got to be happy with. I mean, you got to be thrilled. If I'd have told you at the beginning of the year the Raiders would have 6 wins, so let's just say through the whole season, 6 wins, would you feel that's about right?
I would feel a little disappointed, but I'd be pretty solid if it was 7 or 8, so not too far off. And 6-3 at this point.
So so they're right there.
I'm liking it. They got the tiebreaker on the Browns. They beat them in another classic, terrible, terrible, terrible game to watch. So just keep the train rolling. But got to give up to my Chargers insider here. Chargers at Miami. Give us your thoughts.
You know what? They just got beat by the better team. This wasn't a case of the Chargers finding a way to charger it. Miami just came out, punched them in the mouth right off the bat, blocked a punt. Yet another just terrible special teams play by the Chargers. They haven't been good on special teams for like 15 years, and I can't figure out why they haven't figured it out.
Never kick, and they always have some bungle on other special teams plays.
But look, they just got beat. I mean, hey, Miami. This is what 5 wins in a row or 6 wins in a row for Miami. Yeah. Like they're 1 game behind Buffalo for that East Division lead. So Miami's looking hot, man. Tua, not a great game, but they didn't need him to be great. That's kind of a.
He's 3-0. And
exactly.
Going into this whole thing, I think it was kind of awkward when it sort of leaked out that the Dolphins want to see him now and see what he could do. Like, stay healthy. What do they actually have here? And everyone was kind of like, really? You're just going to throw this guy in there right now? Like, Fitzpatrick, certainly serviceable quarterback, veteran.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But, hey, Tua's just doing what is needed to be done. Ricky Rose.
Tua Tagovailoa.
He's holding it down. And, I thought it was curious, to say the least, when they were 3-3 and you make a quarterback change. But their defense, special teams getting it done. Tua, no interceptions yet. I think his quarterback rating has been like 10 to 15 points higher than Fitzpatrick's over the season. So he's been steady back there. And they're kind of hitting their stride. I mean, this was a team that really came on late last year. And, as we get into the next game, the Bills are now sort of feeling the heat there a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Miami's been playing well. I mean, again, probably a top 5 defense, just been like quietly really good all season. We've said it all year. Is like, even the games they've lost, they've been there. Like, nobody's dominated this team. They're in there, whether they're winning or losing. So, I still think if they could build a decent run game, they could be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. And, I mean, if you have, like, at some point, look, we're 3 games into the Tua era, the Tagovailoa era, if you will. But he's been steady. Yes, there's going to be, tape gets out there. You kind of see what he likes to go to for just, like, reliable plays. And it'll get tougher for him. He's going to have bad games. Like, we're 3 games into it. But he's been steady. The defense has really been coming on. And special teams, it seems like that team just always makes a special teams play. I know you said the Chargers always have special teams problems, but the Dolphins this year have just been making like crazy plays on special teams. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's, 2 phases right there, and they look pretty solid. And then probably you have to say the best game of the weekend, Buffalo and Arizona, back and forth. Allen again looked strong. Murray, of course, comes down to crazy Hail Mary at the end.
Hail Murray. I'm sure nobody's heard that before. A Hail Murray. We came up with that.
The New York Times, the New York Post headline: Hail Murray. Hopkins just in the middle of 3 guys. I mean, I will say this about Hopkins. I feel like when he gets his 2 hands on it, he's getting it. Like,
oh yeah, he's not dropping it.
That situation's pretty exceptional, but still, like, if you see him like really have it, like, that's like one of the best things about his whole game. It's just like sure hands, and he's always a number 1 receiver, and he still always puts up yards, touchdowns, like as far as fantasy goes. Just insane, improbable play.
Yeah, it was, massive play. I think, a lot of credit has to be gone. When we're talking MVPs, it's still pretty early on in the MVP race, but I think you really got to put Bill O'Brien into the category of MVP for what he's done for Arizona. Just absolutely. Yeah, just unreal. Just the way he's helped that team out has been crazy. But, again, just massive Hail Mary. I'm sure everybody's seen the clip 100 times by now. That play also had some interesting, in more cases than one, gambling implications.
Yes.
For one, okay. If you want to jump to the parlays, I was just going to say the spread, but if you want to jump to the parlays,
we'll talk on the parlay or the spread. Sorry.
So the Falcons were favored by 3. They were -3 favorites. They get that touchdown to go up 2. Instead of kicking the PAT, they do make probably the smart play by just taking the knee, guaranteeing there's not going to be a block and return, anything like that, which that only gave them a 2-point win. So anybody that had Arizona -3 wound up losing money. I feel worse for people on that one than I do the Cleveland one, because that one was actually like, okay, that's a real bad beat. That sucks. Again, Arizona making the smart IRL play, but that was rough.
And then a couple parlays. This is actually a guy, Tyler sent me this. He had 2 of these. So I don't know how big it is on your screen there, but he's got 5,000 on this one. So he's got, and he kind of tweaked it. He had alternate spreads, kind of like teaser bets that he moved the spread down a little bit. He had the over 55.5 on that game, so it hit. He had the Raiders
that hit before the Hail Mary.
Yeah, so he's good there. Steelers alternate spread -2.5. Saints -6.5, and the Dolphins to win, and then the Raiders on a straight bet money line to win. So that paid out $58,937, and then this one came down to the Hail Mary, $2,000 on this one to win and hit the over 56.5, and this one paid out $49,938. Woo!
Yeah, so that the combined score before the Hail Mary was 56, so he needed that Hail Mary to hit in order to win that parlay. That's I imagine he had to be going absolutely insane when Hopkins came down with that catch.
I know. I wonder too FanDuel, obviously they have the daily fantasy, and I think it's just an online sportsbook also at this point. But he has a ticket here, so they have a physical. What's that? You cut out a little bit. Can't hear you. It's cutting out. But we'll get Tyler back in here in a second. But that was a tasty one right there. Ever since going to Vegas, I'm just got a craving for these insane parlays, especially the parlays. But yeah, that spread that hurts. I mean, Arizona, you're playing to win a game that was already a wild game to begin with. So the smart play is there. Kneel on the football. Don't risk a block kick. Take the win. But that is rough if you had them just covering that because you just missed it. Oh, man. Hate to see it, but love to see it. So we'll see the fallout from that. And again, fantasy implications, I'm sure. Actually, Hopkins, that was the other guy I was trying to think of. That gave me a nice boost in one of my leagues, playing against some of the other leagues. So that also stung. But we bring Tyler back into the program here. Tyler, are you there with me? Wait. I have no audio from you. All right, Tyler's going to get back on. But we'll move on here. Seattle at the Rams, which the shine I thought had really come off the Rams, but the shine is really coming off the Seahawks right now. Russell Wilson was on an MVP clear-cut pace, and he's really not looked that good in the last couple weeks. The Rams just pretty much controlled this all the way. We saw what happened to the Seahawks in Buffalo last week. That NFC West is wild because I think you got three teams tied at the top, and 49ers really falling off the pace. But they just had a disastrous amount of injuries this year. And actually, as we just go into that next game, they looked game. I mean, they were in it. The first half looked pretty fine, but the class of the Saints just pulled away. Interesting in that game, also Drew Brees got hurt, which means we get to see famous Jameis get back out there, which perfectly Jameis Winston too. He was, I think it was like 6 for 6 on his first 6 passes, and then he was 0 for 4 right after that. So still kind of don't know what you're gonna get with old Jameis out there. But let's see if we can get Tyler back in here. Tyler, can you hear me? Can I hear you?
Oh, I hate not having internet. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
right at 8:30, right when we got to get out of here.
Exactly. But hold on, before we go, just because it doesn't feel right. Yeah. All right.
There we go. That feels so much better.
And then you had Pittsburgh actually staying undefeated, taking care of the Bengals. Bengals, probably one of their worst-looking games of the year, unfortunately. Yeah. But, I mean, Burrow still had a really good rookie season. But Steelers still undefeated, so can't really bash them. They've won a bunch of tough games there. And then the last one, last night, I don't know why my mouse isn't working anymore. Take the banner off there. Baltimore, kind of yikes. People are saying the Patriots still have a chance. I really don't think they have that much of a chance. But Baltimore is still looking for any kind of like marquee win. We talked about it on Friday. This would be a nice statement win, national TV game, and just yes, the weather was a huge factor, but just really didn't look that good. And the Patriots just took them down.
Yeah, rough game for Baltimore. I think both those teams are kind of like teams that need to get ahead in front so they can just run the ball, control the clock, control the game. And, especially when you're playing in a monsoon, like if you get behind and have to throw, you're pretty much already screwed there. So, yeah rough look for Baltimore. I think that drops them to 6-3 now. Looking at a team that were Super Bowl contenders now, it's like, can they really beat anybody good? We'll see how that goes. But, rough look for them last night.
Just, kind of expected but unexpected. You would think that would be like, all right, Patriots are just mediocre. This is the time to come out, win by like 20-something points, and it just never got going. And then the weather was, not any help at all. But we do have to get out of here. Thank you again for 100 great episodes, all your comments, calls, all your contributions to the show. We'll keep rolling with this thing as long as we can. Thank you to Tyler for sticking it out with a very limited internet situation and getting back on for the end here. But that's pretty much all I got. You guys have a good night. We have Maction tomorrow and Wednesday, and you will join us on Wednesday, we hope.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Thank you so much for sticking it out again. Hopefully Spectrum has my internet back up, hopefully tonight, but we'll see how that goes. But definitely stick around here on the Core T Network. We got Book Club for TV Patrice coming up right about now. We love you guys. Thank you so much for 100 great episodes. You know the drill. Keep the fire.
Keep the fire!
At the buzzer.